In a far corner of the galaxy, a vast council chamber hummed with the quiet voices of alien leaders. The Galactic Council, a group made up of representatives from various star systems, sat at a long, gleaming table. Their home was a massive station, floating in the heart of an ancient star system, surrounded by the silent darkness of space. On one side of the room, massive holographic screens flickered with images of Earth, the home planet of a species known as humans. The council had gathered to discuss something they could no longer ignore: humans. "Earth's people are growing too fast," said a tall reptilian being, his voice deep and raspy. He was known as Zorath, one of the oldest members of the council. His species had lived for centuries, long before humanity even learned to walk upright. They've mastered space travel, discovered alien technologies, and now they seek to expand into the stars. If we do not act now, they could be a threat to all of us. His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of experience. Other members of the council exchanged uneasy glances, but no one spoke immediately. They had all been watching humanity's rise for years, some with admiration, others with growing concern. Humans, they had decided, were unpredictable, brave, clever, and driven by an insatiable curiosity. "I disagree," said another member, a being of pure energy, her form constantly shifting like waves of light. "The humans' thirst for knowledge makes them valuable allies. We've seen their determination, their ability to adapt quickly. They have the potential to be an incredible force for good." The energy being's voice was soft yet firm, radiating a calm energy that settled over the room. She was named Ilya, and her species had long been the council's voice of reason. She believed that humans could be taught, guided, and integrated into the broader galactic community. The debate continued for hours, each representative offering their own thoughts on humanity. Some argued that humans' tendency to act without understanding the full consequences of their actions made them dangerous. Others, like Ilya, believed that their strength lay in their capacity for change and growth. The decision, however, was made quickly. "Humanity must be contained," Zorath declared. "We cannot allow them to grow unchecked. We must prevent them from making the same mistakes we have made in the past." The decision was final. A directive was sent to the various alien species, warning them about the rise of humanity. The message was clear: do not trust them, do not assist them, and above all, do not let them expand beyond their own planet without proper supervision. In short, they must be controlled. The council's message reached the furthest corners of the galaxy, but it was not as well received as they had hoped. Many species, particularly those that had interacted with humans directly, did not share the council's fear. They had seen something different in the humans: a fiery spirit, a hunger for knowledge, and an untamed strength that made them stand out from the rest. The message went out anyway, and the council began to implement measures to restrict human progress. They placed embargoes on certain technologies, shut down trade routes, and even sabotaged human attempts to make contact with other alien races. The humans, however, did not back down. They persisted, growing stronger with each challenge thrown their way. Meanwhile, on Earth, a small group of humans were about to uncover something that would change the course of history. Jack Kane, a retired military officer, sat in his small apartment in the bustling city of New York. He stared at the screen in front of him, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. A message had appeared in his inbox, one that seemed impossible to ignore. It was a coded transmission, a message from an unknown source. "Jack Kane," the message began. "You don't know me, but you are about to play a pivotal role in the survival of your species. The Galactic Council is watching you. They fear you. But it's not too late to change the outcome. Trust no one but yourself." Jack's heart raced as he read the words again. The Galactic Council? Fear him? He had heard rumors about aliens, stories shared by conspiracy theorists whispered on the dark corners of the internet. But he never imagined they were real. And yet, this message seemed too urgent to be ignored. Without a moment's hesitation, Jack tapped the reply button, his fingers shaking as he typed, "Who is this? What do you want from me?" The reply came instantly. You are not alone. There are others like you. Together you can find the truth, and the truth will save humanity. Jack stared at the screen, his mind spinning. What truth, who else, and why had he been chosen? He didn't have answers, but he knew one thing. He could not let this opportunity slip away. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of purpose, a sense that something bigger than him was at play. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the members of the Galactic Council sat, unaware of the unfolding events. They had made their decision and they believed it to be the right one. The humans would be kept in check. They would not be allowed to interfere with the delicate balance of power that existed between the stars. The Council had spoken, but they had underestimated the power of the human spirit. As the meeting came to a close, Zorath stood and addressed the Council one last time. We have made the right choice. The humans will learn their place. But deep inside, even he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was about to change. A feeling that perhaps, just perhaps, the humans would not be so easy to control. And as Jack Kane set his plan into motion, he unknowingly became the spark that would ignite a fire that would soon consume the Galactic Council's carefully laid plans. On Earth, Jack Kane felt the weight of the message he had received only hours ago. It had shaken him to his core. He didn't fully understand what was going on, but one thing was clear. Humanity was about to face something far bigger than anything it had ever dealt with before. The Galactic Council was real, and they feared humanity. With little more than a cryptic message and a sense of urgency, Jack set off to investigate. He gathered a small group of trusted friends, people who had been part of his military life. There was Sophia, a brilliant hacker whose fingers danced across keyboards faster than anyone he knew. Then there was Daniel, an engineer with an inventive mind that never stopped. Together they formed a team. Jack couldn't explain it, but he felt that their bond, formed through years of loyalty and trust, was the only thing that could help them survive whatever was coming. The first step was tracking down the source of the message. Sophia had quickly decrypted the coordinates hidden in the transmission, and the group found themselves heading to a remote location in the Arctic. There, beneath the snow and ice, an old military research facility had been abandoned long ago. It was strange. Too strange that this was where they were supposed to go. The moment they arrived at the site, Jack felt something was off. The air was still too quiet. As they entered the cold concrete building, they were greeted by nothing but dust and the echoes of their footsteps. But Jack wasn't looking for ghosts. He was looking for answers. Inside, Sophia led the group down a series of dark hallways to a small locked door. She worked her magic, tapping away at her tablet until the lock clicked open with a soft hiss. The door creaked as it swung inward, revealing a room unlike any Jack had ever seen. The walls were covered in alien symbols, symbols that seemed both familiar and foreign. In the center of the room stood a large, spherical object, humming softly. The object was covered in strange markings, and as they drew closer, the symbols seemed to shift, glowing faintly. "This is it," Daniel said, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is what we were meant to find." Jack stood frozen, staring at the object. "What is it?" Sophia knelt beside it, studying the markings. "I think it's some sort of communication device, but it's not from Earth. It's older than anything we've ever seen." As she worked, a strange energy pulsed from the device, growing stronger with each passing moment. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. "Should we be touching that?" he asked, suddenly unsure of their mission. Before anyone could respond, the room filled with a brilliant flash of light. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, the light faded, and standing in front of them was a figure, a humanoid being, tall and thin with skin that shimmered like polished metal. It had no eyes, no mouth, just smooth, reflective features that seemed to look straight through them. Jack instinctively took a step back, but the figure remained still. "We come in peace," a voice echoed through their minds. It was neither male nor female, but calm and unwavering. I am a messenger from the Galactic Federation. You are being watched. Jack's heart raced. Who are you? What do you want? The being tilted its head, as if considering the question. We are here to warn you. The Galactic Council has made a mistake. They fear you, and they will act against you. But you do not have to face this alone. Sophia, normally calm and collected, was visibly shaken. Why are you telling us this? Why now? We have watched humanity grow, evolve, and adapt. You are a unique species, unlike any other in the galaxy. Your curiosity and desire to understand the universe are unmatched. The Council has misjudged you, and they will not stop until you are under their control. Daniel stepped forward. What can we do? We're just humans. We don't have advanced technology, not like you. The figure's form flickered as if it were gathering energy from the room. You are more than you know. You have the potential to become something great, something beyond what the Council can imagine. But to do so, you must break free of their control. You must find the weapon hidden in the stars. Only then will you have the power to decide your fate. Jack felt the weight of the words settle in his chest. A weapon? Hidden in the stars? It seemed impossible, but he had learned over the years that anything was possible if you were willing to fight for it. How do we find this weapon? Jack asked. The being extended one of its long, shimmering arms, pointing toward a star map projected in the air. Follow the path. The map will guide you, but be warned, others will come after you. They will try to stop you. You must be ready. With that, the being stepped back into the shadows, its form dissolving like smoke. The room fell silent once more, and the group exchanged uncertain glances. Jack exhaled, trying to make sense of everything that had just happened. So, the Galactic Council doesn't want us to know about this weapon. They're afraid we'll use it against them. Sophia nodded slowly, her mind already working through the possibilities. They've underestimated us, but if we follow this map, we might be able to turn the tables. We can't afford to ignore this. We need to find this weapon. Jack turned to his team. We're not backing down. Not now. Not ever. The next few days were filled with frantic planning and preparation. They would need to gather resources, study the star map, and find a way to navigate the dangers ahead. But as Jack looked at his team, he knew that they were ready. This wasn't just a mission to uncover ancient alien technology. It was a mission to secure humanity's future. And somewhere in the back of his mind, Jack couldn't help but wonder. If the Galactic Council was so afraid of humans, did that mean they had reason to be? Was humanity truly a force that could change the galaxy forever? The following days felt like a blur to Jack and his team. They worked tirelessly, studying the star map that the mysterious figure had given them. It wasn't a simple map. It was more like a puzzle. The map was divided into several regions of space, each marked with cryptic symbols and coordinates that seemed to lead them in different directions. It was clear that finding the weapon would not be easy. They had no idea where it was hidden or what they would face along the way. But one thing was certain. Time was running out. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council had no idea what was happening on Earth. They believed that their measures to control humanity were working. They had isolated the planet from most of the galaxy, preventing any further contact between Earth and the alien civilizations that had once shown interest. They were confident that humanity was being kept in check, unaware of the growing movement that was quietly rising beneath their watchful eyes. But as the council members sat in their chambers, discussing the fate of humanity, a small but significant event occurred, one that would change everything. Zorath, the reptilian leader of the council, was the first to notice something unusual. His species had always been known for their sharp senses, and he had spent the last few weeks observing humanity's activities. What he saw troubled him. Humans were not retreating as they had predicted. Instead, they were learning, adapting, and becoming more resourceful by the day. They're not listening, Zorath muttered to himself, his voice thick with concern. He turned to Ilya. the energy being who had always supported the idea of helping humanity. "Ilya, I believe we've made a grave mistake." Ilya's form flickered, her light wavering as she considered his words. "What do you mean?" "We've underestimated them. Humans are not like the species we've dealt with before. They are unpredictable, yes, but they are also determined. We've placed them under strict control, but they've found a way around it. We must act before it's too late." Ilya's mind raced. She had always believed that humans could be taught, that they could be a force for good in the galaxy. But now the situation seemed to be spiraling out of control. The weapon that the human team had been sent to find, the very one that had been hidden for centuries, was something the Council could not afford to let them discover. "They've uncovered something," Zorath continued, his eyes narrowing. "I believe they're after the weapon we've kept secret for so long. We cannot let them get their hands on it." Ilya was silent for a moment, her thoughts swirling. "We must stop them then, but we cannot destroy them. We've already done enough damage." Zorath's eyes flashed. "We must do whatever it takes. The weapon must remain hidden." The Council convened in an emergency meeting, where Zorath presented his concerns. Ilya, once again, stood by her belief that humanity could be a valuable ally. But others, including the warlike species represented by Vrax, a brutish creature with sharp claws and a growling voice, were not so sure. They believed that humanity's rise could only mean one thing: war. "The humans are too dangerous," Vrax growled. "They've already proven that they can outsmart us. They cannot be allowed to continue their journey. They must be stopped." Zorath's cold stare met Ilya's. He knew that his people had made a mistake. The Council had warned the galaxy about humanity, but now they had no choice but to act quickly. Back on Earth, Jack and his team were growing closer to their goal. They had finally deciphered the star map, and it pointed them toward a distant region of space, one that no human had ever ventured to before. It was beyond the reach of any known human ship, in a dangerous sector filled with asteroid fields and unexplored planets. They had prepared for this moment. Jack, Sophia, and Daniel had gathered all the resources they could find. They had an old retired spacecraft, nothing fancy, but it would have to do. With their destination set, they blasted off into space, unaware that the Council had already begun to take action. As they neared the edge of the known galaxy, their ship was intercepted by an unexpected force, a fleet of alien ships, each one designed for war. The ships were sleek, deadly, and filled with alien soldiers who were ready to stop them at any cost. "Warning," the ship's AI warned. "Unidentified fleet approaching." Jack's heart raced. He had never seen anything like this before. The ships were powerful, far beyond the technology Earth had ever developed. His team had no weapons, no way to defend themselves. They were sitting ducks. "We're not going down without a fight," Jack said, his voice steady despite the fear rising inside him. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Sophia, find a way to contact them." Sophia quickly worked her way through the ship's communication system. "I'm trying, but they're blocking all signals. It's like they don't want us to talk." Suddenly a voice crackled through their speakers. It was harsh, distorted, but clear enough to understand. "Humans, you have been warned. The Galactic Council has decided your fate. Surrender now or face destruction." Jack's jaw clenched. "We're not surrendering, we're not backing down." As the alien ships closed in, Jack's thoughts raced. He realized that the Galactic Council had been watching them all along. The message was clear. They feared what humanity could become. But it wasn't just about stopping them anymore. It was about control. "We have to get to that weapon," Jack muttered. "That's our only chance." The situation had gone from bad to worse. The Galactic Council had underestimated the human spirit, and now they were paying the price. Jack and his team were no longer just trying to survive. They were fighting for humanity's place in the galaxy. As the alien ships fired their first shots, Jack's team prepared for the battle ahead. They had no idea what was coming next, but they knew one thing for certain: they weren't going to give up without a fight. The tension in the cockpit of the ship was thick. Jack, Sophia, and Daniel could hear the warning sirens blaring. the cold voice of the alien fleet's commander echoing through their speakers. Their once simple mission to find the hidden weapon had become a desperate struggle for survival. "All ships prepare to fire," the alien voice commanded. "Surrender now or face annihilation." The word sent a chill through the crew. They had come so far, uncovered secrets that could change the galaxy, only to be faced with this, an overwhelming force that seemed to appear out of nowhere. It was clear that the Galactic Council had made good on their threats, sending their most powerful ships to stop them. "We're not surrendering," Jack muttered, his eyes focused on the vast expanse of space ahead. "Get ready for evasive maneuvers. We can't outrun them, but we can try to outsmart them." Sophia worked quickly, her fingers flying over the controls. "I'm hacking into their system. I'll try to scramble their weapon systems, but it won't take long before they catch on." Daniel stood by, his hands clenched into fists. "We need to get to that weapon. No matter what it takes, this is our only shot at stopping them." Jack nodded. "Agreed, but we need a plan. We can't fight them head on. We don't have the firepower." Sophia's voice interrupted their thoughts. "I've got it. I've found an old communication frequency that might work. It's risky, but it could buy us some time." Without waiting for a response, she pressed a series of buttons. The ship's AI flickered for a moment, then the communication system buzzed to life. "This is Captain Jack Kane of the Earth vessel Odyssey. We're not here to fight. We're here to negotiate. We have information that could be valuable to the Council." There was a long pause, and for a moment Jack wondered if the message had gone through at all. Then, the cold voice of the alien fleet commander returned. "You are wasting your time, human. The Council has decided there is no negotiation." Jack gritted his teeth. He could hear the finality in the commander's voice. The Council had already made up its mind. They weren't interested in talks, but that didn't mean they were out of options. "We have a weapon," Jack said, keeping his voice steady. "A weapon that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The Council doesn't want you to know about it, but we're willing to share this information, if you'll listen to us." Silence followed his words. The alien ships continued their advance, but there was something different in the air. For a moment, Jack thought that perhaps they were finally beginning to listen. Then, the alien commander responded, his voice dripping with contempt. "You think you can bargain with us, human? You are nothing. The Council will never accept you as an equal. You are too dangerous, too unpredictable. Your place is beneath us." Jack's heart sank, but he refused to back down. He knew that the truth about humanity's potential was on their side. The weapon they were seeking could change everything, but they needed to make the right move, fast. "If you won't listen to us, then we'll make you listen," Jack said, his voice calm but firm. "Sophia, do you have that backup plan ready?" Sophia didn't hesitate. "I'm ready. Let's hope they don't notice." With a few more quick taps, she sent a signal. Within seconds, the Odyssey's engines roared to life, sending the ship into a sharp, unexpected turn. The alien fleet was momentarily caught off guard, but they quickly regained their position. "Brace for impact," Jack shouted as their ship flew through a tight asteroid field, hoping to use the space debris to their advantage. The alien ships fired, but their shots were scattered, missing the ship by mere inches. Jack's plan was risky, but it was working. For now. As they weaved through the asteroid field, Jack turned to Sophia. "Can you keep them distracted while we head for the weapon site?" Sophia nodded. "I'll keep them busy, but it won't last long. Once they realize what we're doing, they'll be on us in full force." Daniel leaned over to the controls. "We can't outrun them forever. We need to get to that weapon, or we'll be fighting a losing battle." Jack's mind raced as he tried to think of a way to outsmart the alien fleet. They had no time to waste. The weapon they were after was their only hope, not just to survive, but to show the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. "All right," Jack said, his voice full of determination. "Sophia, I need you to set a course for the weapon. We'll make a quick jump and hope they can't follow us. Daniel, get ready to engage the jump drive on my signal." Sophia's fingers flew over the controls. "Course set, but if we make the jump, we won't have much time to prepare. It's a risk." "I'm counting on it," Jack said, his gaze fixed on the front view. The asteroid field was becoming more dense, and the alien ships were getting closer. He could feel the pressure mounting, but his resolve was unwavering. The ship's engines hummed as they prepared to make the jump. "Now," Jack ordered. In an instant, the Odyssey shot forward faster than ever before, making a break for the deep, uncharted space where the weapon was hidden. The alien fleet tried to follow, but the jump drive was too fast. For the moment, Jack and his team had escaped, but they all knew that their escape was only temporary. The alien fleet would regroup, and the Galactic Council would not let them get away easily. The battle had just begun. As the Odyssey hurtled through the unknown space, Jack looked at his team. They had made it this far, against all odds. The HFY Council had underestimated humanity, and now it was time to show them what humans were capable of. But the weapon they sought wasn't just a tool. It was a symbol of humanity's potential. Jack knew that once they found it, everything would change. They could no longer be seen as a lesser species. They could no longer be controlled. He glanced at the star map again, his eyes filled with a new sense of purpose. They were getting closer. The weapon was within their reach. The stars stretched out before them, endless and full of mystery. The Odyssey continued its journey through deep space, cutting through the silence with a hum that vibrated through the walls. Jack sat in the cockpit, eyes focused on the blinking lights of the navigation console. He could feel the tension building. They were getting closer to the weapon, closer to the key that could turn the tide in their fight against the Galactic Council. But the weight of the situation hung heavy on his shoulders. They had no idea what they were about to face, only that it could change everything. "Approaching target zone," Sophia said, her voice steady but edged with anticipation. "I've got the coordinates locked in. This is it, Jack. We're almost there." Jack nodded, but his thoughts were elsewhere. The last few days had been a blur of close calls, narrow escapes, and constant tension. They had barely escaped the alien fleet, but that wouldn't be the last time they would face opposition. The Council had many allies, and they knew the humans were coming. The chase was on, and Jack knew that time was running out. "We've come this far," Daniel said, his voice calm but with an edge of determination. "Now we finish this. We find the weapon and we make our stand." Jack looked at his team, the people who had stood by him through every impossible mission. "I'm not backing down. We've earned our place in this galaxy, and we'll prove it. The weapon is ours." They all understood the stakes. The weapon wasn't just an ancient piece of technology. It was a symbol. It was humanity's chance to show the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated. It was their chance to rewrite the rules and finally have a seat at the table with the other species in the galaxy. But they couldn't afford to fail. If they did, humanity would be crushed under the weight of the Galactic Council's power. The ship jolted suddenly as they entered the dense region of space indicated by the star map. It was a place beyond any known system, a dark void that seemed to swallow all light. The coordinates led them to a small, seemingly empty planet, hidden in the depths of uncharted space. It was the last place anyone would think to look, a perfect hiding spot for a weapon that could change the course of the galaxy. "This is it," Sophia said, staring at the readings on her screen. "This planet doesn't even show up on the Council's maps. Whoever hid the weapon here did a good job." Jack stood, looking out the viewport. The planet below them was small and barren, its surface scarred by ancient impacts. There were no signs of life, no signs of anything, except for a faint energy reading coming from deep beneath the surface. That was their target. The weapon was buried somewhere down there. "We land," Jack said, his voice firm. "We find the weapon, and we get out. We don't have time for anything else." As the Odyssey descended through the planet's thin atmosphere, a deep sense of foreboding settled over the crew. They were about to step into the unknown, a place where danger could be lurking around every corner. But there was no turning back, now. The weapon could be their only chance. The ship touched down with a soft thud, the dusty ground beneath them shaking slightly. Jack and his team gathered their gear, preparing for what lay ahead. They had no idea how much time they had before the Council's forces arrived, but they knew it wouldn't be long. "We'll need to move quickly," Jack said, locking eyes with his team. "Stay alert and stay together." This is a mission we can't afford to fail. The landscape around them was barren, a vast expanse of rock and dust. The ground was cracked and uneven, and there was no sign of any civilization. It was as if the planet had been abandoned for eons. But there in the distance, Jack spotted something strange. A structure partially buried in the ground, its silhouette barely visible against the horizon. "That's our destination," he said, pointing toward the structure. "Let's move." The journey to the structure was slow and tense, the group moving carefully over the rocky terrain. Every step felt like it might trigger some sort of hidden trap, but nothing happened. They reached the entrance of the structure without incident, an ancient door long forgotten by time. It was made of a strange metal, covered in intricate markings that seemed to pulse with faint energy. "Do you think this is it?" Daniel asked, his hand resting on the door. "It has to be," Jack replied. "This is where the weapon is hidden. Let's get inside." With a deep breath, Jack pushed the door open. It creaked loudly, revealing a dimly lit corridor that stretched out before them. The air inside was stale, untouched by time, and the walls were lined with strange symbols and alien technology. They moved cautiously, not knowing what they would find inside. As they walked deeper into the structure, they felt the presence of something powerful. The further they went, the more intense the energy readings became. They were getting close. Then they reached it. A massive chamber, its walls lined with advanced technology, glowing with a faint, eerie light. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and on top of it lay the weapon. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The weapon was sleek, metallic, and unlike any human design. It hummed with a strange energy, and Jack could feel its power radiating through the room. "This is it," Sophia whispered. "This is the weapon." Jack stepped forward, his heart racing. He had come so far to get here. He reached out, his hand trembling slightly as he touched the weapon. The moment his fingers made contact, the weapon flared to life, its energy bursting outward, filling the room with a blinding light. The entire structure trembled, and the ground beneath them shook violently. "What's happening?" Daniel shouted. "Over the noise." "I don't know," Jack said, his eyes wide with shock. "Get back!" Before they could react, a voice echoed through the chamber, an alien voice, deep and full of authority. "You think you can control it?" The voice boomed, sending a chill down Jack's spine. "You are not ready. No one is." The ground cracked open beneath their feet, and from the shadows emerged figures, alien warriors ready to fight. The council had found them. The battle for humanity's future had begun.